Will Donald J. Trump finally be arrested for the pig he is? That's the story of tonight that I want to cover in this video. Are you all doing great? If you've seen Legal Eagle's video, boldly titled, I'm suing the FBI and the Department of Justice, you're probably just like me, being like, what the fuck is going on? And I've watched it, right? And I want to talk about it. I know I'm probably, some random shit YouTuber, probably can give a good, representation of the story. But, after seeing the whole thing, seeing, what was brought up, I do want to give my opinion on it. Because believe it or not, it is somewhat interesting. But before I get into, what I believe or might stem from this, I'll give a quick summary. Now, what the hell does Legal Eagle, want from this case? Or, what does he hope to achieve, him and his counsel? First of all, simple case, he's suing the FBI and Department of Justice to obtain all the records of the investigation done on Trump due to him retaining classified documents trying to overturn the 2020 election.
Look, Donald Trump won the 2024 presidential election fair and square. We assume. And that means that the criminal cases against him are over, or at the very least are stalled indefinitely. So why would I do this now when Special Counsel Jack Smith is winding down both of his cases and Trump will return to power in January? Well, in the words of Supreme Court Justice Louis Brandeis, sunlight is said to be the best of disinfectants. In that vein, I, along with my co-counsel, believe that the American people have a right to know what the Department of Justice and the FBI discovered when they investigated Donald Trump. And so we filed a lawsuit in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia to challenge the DOJ's failure to process two FOIA requests for this historically important information.
So basically like a Freedom of Information request, which I remember learning about back during DocPac, when he basically couldn't wait for 2 weeks before accusing someone at Mr. Beast for being a woman beater.
And then he states he should have waited for the FOIA requests, or the FOIA, Freedom of Information Act.
I get smarter every day. But actually, Legal Eagle has had this case for a while, being filed back in 8th of November, I believe he said. But now he can go public with it, because now he's also adding on top the FBI's failure to expedite or speed up his request, which he made it easy for them, considering how Donald J. Trump, God bless his heart, he'll be coming back in office in just January, like that soon. And Legal Eagle wants to get those records in his hands and out to the public as soon as possible. He brought up a quote from some crypt keeper being like, sunlight is pretty good for the truth, whatever. Yeah, but some old shit. But this story is actually interesting. Now, like I said, I may not know shit about this, the whole Donald Trump conspiracy, but I was really hooked into the parts in this video where he sent the expedition request, as I mentioned, to the Office of Information Policy, essentially being like, listen, I get it. There's probably a shit ton of documents you can't show me because they're confidential. That's fine, I get it. Me and my counsel can see through that and just request for, the basic ones to be made public and have no restrictions behind them. Which after saying that, they got sent a response being like, for all the info we have and that you want, that would be 450 gigabytes of info, or basically 1.7 million emails and items.
And well, wouldn't you know it, the OIP responded and they refused to even process the request. Their response letter indicated to me that they hadn't actually read the request and instead treated it as a request for all records, no exceptions. And the fun part is that they went out of their way to illustrate that they have 1.7 million emails to chew through. You guys, please read the request. I went out of my way to make your jobs easier. This isn't that hard.
I think that's pretty funny. I think it's common knowledge for most people because of movies and TV that it's this kind of stuff that really slows down investigations because there's so much crime we have to get through. But even here, it's funny that Legal Eagle's request for just basic info was disregarded because they would treat they want you to have all the info, which of course they can't have, or at least would take too long. And this is something that he hammers in again and again for good reasons, that Trump will be back in office pretty soon, and once he's in there, it's gonna be open game, whatever he does to those documents. He could just request them to have them destroyed, and whatever was found in that investigation never sees the light of day. There's also no power the FBI, when they were handling his Freedom of Information request, they denied treating him and his counsel as members of the media and news, because I guess they're not directly CBS or Fox News, even though he himself mentions, pretty good point, that they have 3.4 million subs, which is a pretty significant number in the online space, to the point that whatever story they talk about will probably be listened to and treated as if they're actually a big news source, as big as CBS or Fox News. I know that this is not surprising, considering that it's the law and this stuff can never be easy, Precisely like baffling the hurdles preventing such a simple thing like a freedom of information request to be slowed down by this degree. Now before I move on to give my actual opinion as an attorney currently studying law at uni, I do have to point out the silver lining behind it at the end of the video, where the FBI, after initially denying it, they now approved the expedition request during the making of the video.
And I already have a quick update. The day we filed our amended complaint, the FBI miraculously granted us expedited processing. They like to play these little litigation games. So that's a win for the good guys, and we're one step closer to getting the records. And I'm sure it's because the government is afraid of us.
Which I know sounds good, but considering like how critical time is in this case, this small hurdle would have slowed it down has still had an effect on this. Especially considering how now it was just approved after a second look through. But now, for my opinion, even at this state, with an approved expedition request to make it a lot faster, I don't believe much or some information will be handed over, simply because of how soon Trump is going to be back in office. And considering that there might be some bad stuff on there, yeah, I see no reason why it wouldn't be destroyed or, have some restrictions put in place to make it nearly impossible for them to, ever get out. I will say now, I was laughing at myself being like, I'm not sure if anything good will come from this, considering how it seems like a pretty big case at face value. But then I realized, wait, I'm basically arguing against someone, legal eagle, who's an actual fucking attorney. So of course he has some stuff in mind to make him believe that these freedom of information requests will actually be approved. But again, the biggest thing making me cringe or wince, oh geez, is just the time creeping up so soon in just January, where at that point they would be in the wrong hands. And time is just the bane of these sorts of cases where they heavily slow it down to the point that they essentially go nowhere. Now, would I be sad if Donald J. Trump had some bad stuff on him on those documents? Yes, but not really, because I don't really care. I'm not a supporter of him. I would be interested to see this kind of stuff, because the best case scenario for him, there's some bad stuff on there that he gets criticized for. Some stories come from that. Worst case scenario in his shoes is that you might get Watergate levels of really bad shit that gets out in the light and just causes chaos. But overall, I hope the best for Legal Eagle and his counsel. But I can't say with too much enthusiasm, as I previously mentioned, with time being a huge mole on this whole thing that might slow it down enough to the point that this information, so badly wanted, never gets handed over. And as much as those crying people on TikTok, they want you to see that come out, this might be one of those things, where the truth is never revealed because the circumstances against it outweigh it way too much. If it does come out, I'll be blown away and invested on what gets uncovered. But that interest is still being reserved until January, and whether or not those freedom of information requests actually get approved.